Bajaj's unveil of the V15 was sheer genius because in one clean sweep they managed to tug at the heartstrings of every Indian because of the V15's connect to the INS Vikrant. But today we've got the V15 with us for a quick ride and we've got to find out whether it can live up to the hype or not.
In no small measure, the V15 does impress. It looks well built with good levels of paint quality and gritty looking logos. And that is a good start.
Now as motorcycles get better and better by and large, manufacturers have to rely on design to create a distinct differentiator. And that's really the case with the V15. It has a very distinctive styling and it seems to be working because today while we were shooting, people in cars, people on more premium motorcycles stopped by to inquire about the V15 and it was really impressive to them. So it's doing that job, and I think what works is the fact that it's got this long, low stance, looks muscular, the tires wide, it's got an 18-inch front, 16-inch rear, but very wide tires, so it gives it that planted stance. But something that I'm still not a big fan of is the headlamp, which I still feel does give it a bit of an awkward look.
The instrument cluster is also a bit basic, with no trip meter and there's no engine kill switch either. The INS Vikrant logo and the removable cowl for the pillion seat are the standout features. Hit the road and you have a simple single-cylinder 150cc engine with a 2-valve head. Its power output of 11.8 bhp is much lower than most 150cc motorcycles. But it offers 1.3 kilograms of torque from very low RPMs.
You know what really defines the intent of this motorcycle is its engine. Now at the launch there was this whole discussion of whether it's a cruiser or a cafe racer. Well, the engine tells all. It's a commuter. That's what Bajaj intended it to be, and that's what it does really well. So it's not sporty enough to be a cafe racer. It doesn't have the long legs to cruise on the highway. At about 70 kph, that's its sweet spot. At about 80, you start feeling a little bit of a buzz through the seat. But in the city, at low speeds, it just feels so easy to use. I mean, you can stick it in 5th gear, leave it at 30 kilometers an hour, just amble along, open the gas, and it'll start moving forward smoothly. You can even pick up from 20 kph in 4th gear. So it's got all that torque, low down in the rev range, and you can put it to good use in the city. One annoying bit though is that this 5-speed gearbox has an all upshift pattern. So it takes some getting used to for most of us, but for traditional commuters, I guess that's where the focus is for Bajaj. That's what is the preferred mode of shifting.
But commuters will appreciate the V15's expected fuel efficiency of 50 to 55 kilometers per litre. One aspect of the V15 that doesn't seem like a commuter at all is its exhaust note. It sounds meaty and solid. That isn't the only thing that's solid about the V15. It also has a healthy wheelbase and a stuck-to-the-ground kind of feel, although it doesn't sacrifice on agility because of this. But the seating posture takes some getting used to.
Now in terms of ergonomics, it's going to be a comfortable motorcycle even for taller riders because it feels fairly spacious. It's got a 780mm seat height, so even shorter riders will be comfortable on it. And to steer, it feels very nice and light. It's got a very tight turning radius, so will be great for the city again. What's really nice is smaller details that Bajaj have looked into. For instance, the brake, it has a disc brake, but the way it works is it's not too sharp. So people using a disc brake for the first time won't get intimidated by it. It feels very progressive to use, and along with that, you've got very strong rubber as well, giving you good amount of grip, which is often not the case on commuter motorcycles. The V15 also handles bumps and rough sections quite well, although a slightly softer ride would have been nice.
While we didn't ride with a pillion, it should be a cozy arrangement. So for about 62,000 rupees ex-showroom, the V15 isn't the most sensible, or the most well-rounded commuter you could buy today. But things get a little confusing when you think of it as a slice of history.
So what Bajaj has managed to do with the V15 is bring a lot of heart into a segment where decisions are generally made by the head. And our hearts would have beaten just a little bit faster for the V15 as well if the engine had been just a little bit smoother and the ride had been a bit more pliant, helping it become just that nicer commuter for the city.
So the V15 doesn't break new ground as a commuter, but for those riders looking for an added splash of appeal and design, the V15 deserves a closer look.